Hi friends, welcome to Rathods IAS Academy. This is Dr. Harinath Reddy. So today in this particular video, we will try to discuss about India's trade strategy in a multipolar world. So if you have read about the economic survey document for the year 2025-26, the last two chapters in the economic survey, they speak about import substitution, strategic resilience, strategic indispensability. So these are the three keywords which were used in the economic survey of 2025-26. In these two chapters, the economic survey has spelled out what should be the strategy of India towards a trade in the next 2 to 3 decades. So I expect a question in the mains and also prelims exam in the next 1 year. So this topic continues to be very, very important. So that's the reason why we are making a video. And before we get into what is import substitution, what is a strategic resilience, and what is a strategic indispensability, let us spend some time on the facts relating to India's share in the global international trade. So if you take year 2024, in the year 2024, the total trade, the total international trade, both in goods and services together, it is a 33 trillion US dollars. So in 2024, the total international trade, both in goods and services, it is around 33 trillion US dollars. In that, if you split it into two parts, goods trade and the services trade, goods trade accounts for 25 trillion US dollars, services trade accounts for 8 trillion US dollars. So in this global international trade, let us see what is the share of India. So if you take a goods trade, India ranks 18. The rank of India in the goods trade is 18. And similarly, if you take services trade, the rank of India in the services trade is rank 7. If you see the period between 2005 and 2024, so between 2005 and 2024, the share of India in the international goods trade, it has increased from 1 to 1.8%. In the total international goods trade, our share, the share of India is less than 2%, 1.8%. So this is not impressive by any standards. Similarly, if you take services trade, between the same period, between 2005 and 2024, the share of India in the global services trade, it has increased from 2% to 4.3%. So these facts are important. When you do writing of answers in the mains exam, especially in GS paper 3, if you can do value addition by adding the data in your answers, it can fetch you some additional marks. Then, if you take the total exports in India, both goods and services, in the year 24-25, in the financial year 24-25, it's around 825.3 billion US dollars. Earlier I told trillion. The total trade in goods and services 33 trillion US dollars. 1 trillion US dollars is equal to 1000 billion US dollars. So India's total trade, both in goods and services, India's total exports, both in terms of goods and services, it is 825.3 billion US dollars. In that, the share of goods trade is 437.7 billion US dollars. The share of services is 387.5 billion US dollars. And in the external sector, there is a concept called balance of payment. So the balance of payment contains two accounts, current account, capital account. Within current account, we have mercantile trade and invisibles. So in the mercantile trade, we always have a trade deficit. So the deficit in the mercantile trade is offset, is compensated by the surplus in the services trade. So in India's trade with the external world, in the trade in goods, we had a deficit. We import more than what we export. But in terms of services, our exports exceed the import of services. So we had surplus in the service sector. This will compensate the deficit in the trade account. And it will not fully compensate. It will compensate only to the extent of around 60 to 70%. And in the capital account, there are flows like foreign direct investment, foreign portfolio investment, and also we also have got that external debt, borrowing of external debt. So together, we will try to maintain balance in the balance of payments. So the total value of exports, I said 825.3 billion US dollars. And when it comes to imports, the total value of the imports which India makes is a 919.9 billion US dollars. Then if you took these three concepts, import substitution, strategic resilience, and the strategic indispensability. So import substitution, we are not interested in blind import substitution. The economic survey says that we don't want to produce all the goods within India. which means zero dependence on goods in countries abroad. That's not the policy. The economic survey very clearly says, so we had a categorization called a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. All the goods which India manufactures in India, we had a categorization called a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. When it comes to tier 3 goods, economic survey says if the goods which India is importing from countries across the globe, if they don't have any strategic importance, if they cannot be produced at low cost in India, if they are readily available in the international market, we don't need to produce them within India, not necessary. That's why economic survey speaks about intelligent import substitution. We don't want to produce everything within India, not required. Those goods, which production of those goods, if it is expensive in India, let us not produce them in India. But if they are available in abundance in countries around the world, let's import from them, because producing them within India is more expensive than importing them. And we don't have issues with importing them because they are available in abundance and they are also available at a cheaper rate. So with respect to such goods, we don't need to worry about import substitution. We don't need to be worried about producing within India. But when it comes to the other two, so economic survey says tier 1 goods. So these are goods which are strategically very, very important for India's economic development and also for national security. For example, we have semiconductors, we have critical minerals. So such goods which are strategically very important for India's long-term economic development and also for national security, with respect to such goods, we need to slowly replace them. We need to slowly replace the imports with the domestic production. Even in the beginning, if the cost of production of these goods is relatively high, even then we should try to produce them within India, because they are strategically important. Because they are strategically important for the long-term economic development and the national security of India. Then the second tier of goods which the economic survey speaks about is, these goods are also strategically important, but not so important like the first category. And if these goods, if they can be produced within India with a reasonable cost, India should try to produce them. India has the capacity to produce certain goods which are strategically important at a reasonable cost. So such goods have to be produced within India. And both when it comes to tier 1 and tier 2 goods, in the initial stages, the union government and the state governments must try to protect and give protection to such industries. But this should not be blanket protection. You know that from 1950 to 1990, India had a socialist economy where public sector dominated the economy. So protection, blanket protection, will try to make the enterprises and the industry inefficient in the long run. So the economic survey says that when it comes to the goods in tier 1 and tier 2, we need to give protection, but it must be linked to performance. If such goods, if they can be produced and if they can be exported, the protection will continue. Otherwise, no protection. So it is performance linked. And this protection is not perpetual. It is not given for an unending period. It is given for a definite time period. So this is the strategy which economic survey speaks about, 3 categories of goods: tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. And when it comes to strategic resilience, the concept of strategic resilience, which is spoken about in the economic survey, it speaks about the ability of India to withstand shocks and the ability of India to maintain stability in a global uncertain world. We know that in the recent 1 or 2 decades, the world is witnessing a lot of uncertainty. We had seen Russia-Ukraine war. Now we are seeing United States of America and Israel having a war with Iran. In addition to this, we also see the domination of China with respect to critical minerals. So given this uncertain global environment, economic survey very categorically says this uncertain global environment is expected to be there for the next 2 decades. So in such an uncertain environment, what should be the strategy of India's trade policy with the rest of the world? That is explained in the last 2 chapters in the economic survey. So in that, one of the concept is a strategic resilience. For example, India is hugely dependent on countries like China, South Korea, and Japan with respect to semiconductors, with respect to critical minerals, and that is very much dangerous for the strategic interests of India in the long run when it comes to economic development and also with respect to national security. So that's why India must build the capacity to withstand shocks and try to bring in stability. That concept is called a strategic resilience. To give an example, in the recent past, Government of India has come up with India Semiconductor Mission 1.0, India Semiconductor Mission 2.0. It also has come up with a production linked incentive scheme. It also has come up with a national manufacturing mission. It also has come up with national mission on artificial intelligence, and also it has come up with national critical minerals mission. So if government of India comes up with such a strategy to deal with the shocks to the Indian economy and tries to maintain stability, that is called a strategic resilience. So in the near term, India through wise policies has to bring in this strategic resilience, protecting Indian economy from upcoming shocks and try to bring in stability. That is the concept of strategic resilience. When it comes to strategic indispensability, the concept of strategic indispensability speaks about moving from thinking to buy Indian goods to buying Indian goods without thinking. This is the transition which is expected. So now countries across the globe may be in a stage where they think about buying Indian goods. From that stage, we have to reach a stage where countries around the world feel India is very, very important and essential for them, and they should buy Indian goods without thinking. That concept is called strategic indispensability. For this to happen in India, India has to manufacture high value products. India has to provide high value services, and India should become part of global value chains. So manufacturing exports from India and the service exports from India, they must get elevated to the products of higher quality, higher technology. And once India becomes very strongly embedded in the global value chains, then India becomes indispensable to major powers across the world. So that concept is called strategic indispensability. And as you know, of late in the recent past, India has got several trade agreements with countries like European Union, United Kingdom, Oman, Australia. We are also trying to finalize a deal with the United States of America. So, and in addition to this, there is a grouping called RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. So initially India wanted to join this RCEP, but India feared imports from China destroying the Indian industries. So India took a decision not to join a Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. So India was very, very practical in its trade strategy in a multipolar world. Every decision is made keeping in mind the interests of the Indian economy. So that's it about India's trade strategy in a multipolar world. So that's it about the topic. Thank you and all the best.